Good evening, my victims. Tonight, I have Down the Devil's Aisle by Ravennight. Mela was an evil of a different kind. She was not possessed. She did not have a bad childhood. She was disturbed since the womb, perhaps since the moment of her conception. Her parents knew at the age of a toddler there would be no school, public or private. After laughing when she stabbed her father at age 3 and roasting the cat in the oven, they locked her away. Her room was lavish. She was fed well. They just didn't know what to do with Mela. They did not want the embarrassment of putting her in a psychiatric unit, since she just mostly stared into space. Her parents told others they kept her in the room for safety. However, they never specified it was for their safety. Her mother homeschooled her, but at a distance. At first, Erin wasn't sure her daughter was absorbing anything, but Mela did speak on occasion. As Mela became a teenager, Erin became more trusting of her daughter. Sorrowful that her daughter might be saturated with boredom, she decided to teach her how to sew. She saw the joy that it brought to her daughter's face and was satisfied that she had taught her. The next evening, Erin brought up a plate of supper for her daughter. She took the key from her pocket and unlocked the gate that opened up to a hell. When Erin opened the door, she dropped the tray at the sight. The window was open and there were dead, bloody birds on the floor. Mela had ripped the wings off and had been sewing them together. She paused briefly to pick at the meat of the dead bird beside her. Erin threw up as she saw her daughter take her sleeve to wipe her face. As she did so, she smeared the dead bird's blood across her face. Erin immediately locked the door and screamed for her husband. They had agreed that he would go up and nail the window shut. However, after seeing the carnage, the father had changed his mind. Nail the window shut he did. Then he decided to turn the hammer on his daughter. Mela caught the hammer as it was about to strike. She ripped it out of her father's hands. He stood there in shock as his daughter ripped his throat open with the claw side. He fell to the floor. As he fell to the floor dying, Mela licked the blood off of her hand. Erin heard the commotion and flew up the stairs and into the room. She immediately collapsed to the floor, grasping at her chest. She saw her daughter get up and step over her. She could not move as she lay there dying of heart failure. She heard her daughter's footsteps and felt the bottom of a dress as her daughter stepped over her again. Mela had her mother's wedding dress on, wielding a knife. Erin laid there helplessly as she watched her daughter slice off her father's face and take out his eyes. It was the last thing she saw as she met her death. Mela also carved off her mother's face and removed her eyes. Mela had sewn all the black feathers of the crows together to make a cape. At the bottom of this cape, she added her parents' faces, gluing in their eyeballs. The neighbor Jim and his wife heard the commotion and ran over to see the gruesome monstrosity. They immediately met their death. Their faces were also sewn at the bottom of the cape, and their eyes glued in. When she completed it, she put the cape on and walked downstairs. When she reached the parlor, the floor opened into a big, jagged circle. Within the circle was another set of steps. Mela walked down the steps without fear or hesitation. When she reached the bottom of the steps, she stepped onto a red carpet. As she walked down the aisle, the bottom of her cape dragged behind her. The eyes on the faces shifted from left to right as they came to life. At the end was a throne made of skin. She turned and sat in it. She rested her arm, and a hand enclosed hers. A ring appeared on her finger from nowhere. Mela turned her head and said, "Who are you?" "I am your husband, Lucifer."